Okay, I think we will start with this next session, which is looking at PAS research on the workforce and in the workplace. And before the session actually begins, Steve Tingus, the director of NIDRR, would like to say a few words to everybody. Steve?
Thank you, David, and thank you for all of you that have attended this, what I call a very, very important conference and topic. As you, well, actually, first I'd like to say thank you to Charlene and Mitch and everybody at the center, Steve, for his input and for making this such a high quality RTC on PAS for NIDRR, obviously for the constituency that we serve, all people with disabilities. I'd also like to take this time to acknowledge personally the outstanding work of my colleague David Keir to my right, who has been with NIDRR now for many years and brings, like myself, a consumer perspective that's greatly needed at the agency, one of which obviously is on PAS, and David's other expertise is in disability statistics. So I wanted to thank David here today for his contributions to our effort. Second, I'd like to acknowledge a few people in the room: Andy Imparato from AAPD, Bob Kafka, a friend of mine from ADAPT, Richard Melia, our former director of research sciences at NIDRR, I believe is to my left in the round table towards the back. Dick, stand up. Dick just retired from NIDRR and has been, has left the agency in good hands. I've recently appointed Ruth Brandon, the director of research sciences. Ruth, please stand up. Ruth has a lot of experience in PAS issues, and when I'm said and done and gone, I'm confident that Ruth will carry out the goals that I've set. And Betty Jo Berlin's, Betty Jo, please stand up. Betty Jo also retired. She was my special assistant and very special at that, and we've lost a lot of institutional people. Just the knowledge base is changing at NIDRR. However, we're confident with our new staff that the agency has its mission in each of their hearts and each of their daily practices at the agency. Now, the really crux of this effort is, and I'm diverging from my prepared remarks, is that there's still an unmet need for PAS in this country. As a person with significant disability and someone that has been, and these views are not necessarily those of the Department of Education, I might add. For 38 years, I want to give this conference the consumer perspective. For 38 years, I lived at home, and my parents were my unpaid caregivers. 38 years because of asset constraints. We were not eligible for support. 2 weeks when I came to Washington, I became fully independent and learned within 2 weeks how to recruit, how to retrain, how to keep PAS personal assistant individuals to keep me functioning at the level that you see today. It's not an easy job. The background of these individuals and the expertise that they bring really needs to be looked at. It needs to be developed in training and continuing education. Also, we need to make a better effort to identify what funding mechanisms best fit the individual. And again, look at the asset limitations with regard to obtaining PAS. I think it's an important area as many of my colleagues in the fight in this room who have physical disabilities are aging with disabilities. And our needs obviously will increase with age. As the panel before me had pointed out, statistics, numbers, obviously as the baby boomer ages, we're going to see an increasing need for direct paid PAS. Roughly 4 million working age adults require paid PAS. 8 million require assistance with IADLs. Mostly those aging need more help with IADLs than those of us of middle age or late adulthood. So we're going to see a big impact on our systems to meet the needs of individuals with disabilities. And I might add, Judy Chamberlain brought up a very important fact, that typically, and I hope I'm not stepping out of line here, typically when you think of PAS, you think of people in wheelchairs, people with CP, people that have a visual physical disability. We at NIDRR are ensuring that all people with disabilities, including those with hidden disabilities, such as mental health issues and sensory disabilities and chemical disabilities, are also part of that mix, including people with DD and ID.